Hello everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecolored.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's card is something a little bit special actually. If I remove the belly band here, and if I then pull on this strip here, up comes a message, and then if I keep pulling, it flips over and presents a little gift card to you. Now, I will be honest and say this isn't the most straightforward project that I've ever done in my life. There was a little bit of a learning curve with it, and if it's your first project, probably wouldn't do this one. I'd probably practice on something a little bit simpler first, but if you like pop-ups and kinetic cards, you're going to love this one, so stay with me and I'll show you how I made it. I found the instructions for this kind of mechanism in this book, which is called Pop-Up, A Manual of Paper Mechanisms, and it's by Duncan Birmingham. Now this particular book is out of print, but if you look around you might be able to find a second-hand copy. And Duncan has a YouTube channel, it's called the Pop-Up Channel, and if you enjoy making pop-ups and paper engineering, it's very much worth a visit. I'm going to concentrate on showing you how the mechanism of the card goes together. So I'm going to be doing some of the routine things like putting the tape on, the stamping and the die cutting ahead of time and off camera, so that this tutorial isn't too long. The materials I'm going to be using today are a base card, which is crumb cake, and I've cut it to 4 inches by 11.5, and I've scored and folded it halfway, which is 5 3/4. And on top of that is going to go a piece of rich raspberry, which is 4 inches by 5 3/4. For the pull strip, I've got a piece of mint macaron, and that is 4.5 inches by 10 1/4 inches, and that's not only going to be the pull strip, it's going to be the flap that flips over as well. This is the piece that makes the magic happen. I'm going to call this the actuator, which is a rather posh name, but it just means something that makes something happen. And it's 2 inches by 3 inches. Now the 3-inch dimension isn't particularly critical, it could be a bit more or a bit less, but the 2-inch the 2-inch dimension is critical. Okay, there's a piece that goes over the front that I'm going to be calling the front mask, and this is rich raspberry, and it's 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. I've cut a 1 1/4 inch strip off the top of a piece of A4. Again, this is mint macaron, and that's going to be for the belly band. I'm using DSP from the Petals and Paisleys set, so I've cut myself a piece 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, and that's going to cover my backing piece. And this piece is going to go over my front mask, and it's 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I may cut a piece, I may cut another piece for the pull strip. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But if I do, it'll be from that same set. And I've got some scraps of Very Vanilla, and I also may have some scraps of rich raspberry and mint macaron. So those are that's the paper and card that I'm planning on using. The other things that I'm going to be using are rich raspberry ink, and I'm going to be using stamps from this set, which is BYOP. And I'm also planning on using some of this grosgrain ribbon, the narrow grosgrain ribbon, which is in, you get 3 in a set. You get these 2 colours, rich raspberry, mint macaron, and there's also delightful Dijon there as well, but I'm not going to be using the delightful Dijon today. I'm going to be choosing from these 2 colours. I'm also going to be using the classic label punch, and I want a corner rounder. Now the Project Life corner rounder is very good, but it's going to be going through multiple layers of card, so I recommend using something like this, which is the Crocodile Corner Chomper. It's very heavy duty, and it will go through the number of layers of cards. If you haven't got this, rounding the corners isn't essential, you can leave it out. I'm going to begin by scoring the card for the pull strip on the long side at 2 inches and at 4 1/2 inches. Now I'm going to turn my card so that the short side is at the bottom, and I'm going to score at 1 1/8 of an inch and at 3 3/8 of an inch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to score down just as far as that first score line that I've already put there. Alright, I'm going to turn it round this way, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, again down as far as the score line, and I'm going to flip it over and score down at 1/2 inch again as far as that side. Or I could have scored it, actually, probably would have been better if I'd scored it at 4 inches. And I'm going to make any more score lines? No, that one's done. Okay. The mask I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on both of the short sides, and I'm going to score on one of the long edges at 1/2 inch, but not both of them. And last of all, the actuator, I'm going to score on the side, the short side, the side that's 2 inches. I'm going to score 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/2 inches. This is the bit that makes the magic happen, and the depth of it and the size of the flip over flap are related. And if you're going to be reproducing the sizes on this project exactly, you can just follow the measurements that I've given you. But if you want to know how you go about calculating the size that this needs to be, there will be an explanation on my blog, and you can get there from the links below this video. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper snips, and I'm going to snip along this score line that we made 4 1/2 inches in from the what is now the right hand edge of the card, and I'm just going to snip along it as far as the score line I've made, and I'm just going to take a very, very fine sliver out of the edge as well. And we're going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and just release a tiny, tiny little sliver. Now, I don't need these pieces here, so I'm going to cut them away. And the same thing on the other side. Just like that. But I'm going to just take a little bit away from these pieces here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish all my folds. I've put the tape ready on the pull strip, and as you can see, I've got the tape for the pull strip and for the front of the card carrier are on the same side, and this is going to fold that way, and that is going to fold that way and tuck in. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the backer strip, and I'm also going to put a little bit of wet adhesive of my Tombow in there as well, because believe me, people are going to be fascinated with this, and they're going to want to play with it. So you want to make sure that whatever adhesive you're using has got a bit of authority, so that your card will stand up to the strain. And by using the wet adhesive as well as the tape, you're kind of getting much better bond, and it will be much stronger. Okay, so I'm going to get my corner chomper, and I think I'm going to have a 1/2 inch fold on the pull strip. Put that in. Okay, and as well as looking nice and finished, that will also help the strip to move through the backer. Okay. While I've got the corner rounder in my hand, I'm going to do these corners as well, but this time I'm using the smaller end, the 1/4 inch round, just to give it that nice and neat and finished appearance, and actually I could probably do with doing these corners as well, so I shall. And yes, it's going to give my flap a funny shape, but that's not going to matter. Alright, so now I can put this on one side for a little while I work on the backer. Careful measuring is important for this kind of project, so I'm going to be using my stamping trimmer to help me measure. And as you can see, I've already put the decorative paper onto my backer card, and I've marked a T at the top, T for top, because this is a directional pattern, and I want to make sure that I'm working at the right end of the backer, because otherwise it would be upside down and that would look strange. Okay, now I'm lining the top of my backer card up with the 1 3/4 inch mark, sorry, the 3/4 inch mark on my stamping trimmer, and I'm just measuring along it, okay, drawing a line on it. And now I'm going to turn the card, and I'm going to measure again at 3/4 inch, and I'm just going to cross that line. Actually, I'm going to cross it at that point. Okay, and I'm going to turn it again and line up with the 3/4 inch point, and I'm going to mark across it. Okay, right, now I'm going to put the card back in my trimmer at the 3/4 inch mark. Let's get the scoring blade out of the way, and I'm going to trim, mark the pointer on that line that I just made, and I'm going to run it along until the pointer is on that line that I just made, and I'm going to go forward and back because I'm going through paper and card. Okay, so I've made a slit, and not a very straight one, but never mind. Right, now I'm going to move 1/16 inch that way, so that's one of these little tiny marks there, the little ones, that's 1/16 inch. And I'm just going to move up that way, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to line up on the mark that I just made and up as far as that mark. And now I have created a slit in my paper and card. I bring in my snips. I can just release that. And actually that second one, I only went up once. I need to go and cut through that one again. Okay. So the card's through. And off camera, I've decorated the pull strip with a bit of paper that is 2 inches wide by 5 inches long, and it's the same piece as I've used for the backer. I've just used the other side. Okay, and I've also covered what is going to be the front of the card carrier, and it's a different pattern of the paper, but it's from the same deck. All right, so before I go any further, I'm going to bring in my classic label punch, and I'm going to cut myself a little. Just going to eyeball this one and hope it doesn't go too horribly wrong. I think that's about halfway. Just going to use this to just cut a little notch to make it a little bit easier to get the gift card out. Good punch has cooked perfectly with it. Now I find it works best for me if I actually put the gift card in place before I try to stick anything down. So I'm going to part release the backing on the tape, and I have gone ahead and put all of my tape in place before I started. Okay, I'm just going to press that down, and now that is going to be exactly the right size to hold my gift card, and I can get it in and out without any trouble at all. Now it's time to start putting all the pieces together. So to begin with, I'm going to turn my front mask piece over, and as you can see, I've already gone ahead and decorated that, and I've marked halfway along the back of it here. Pencil again, and I'm going to fold one flap over and just put that over the edge, and I'm just going to draw a line where that flap lands. Okay, I want to measure 1/2 inch down from there, and the easiest way of doing it is to use my actuator as a measurement. I put it level to where the flap is, and I put a mark there. Alright, and it's very important that when I'm going to stick this down in a minute, that I stick it there and not there. I've got the front mask piece and the top is towards me, and I'm going to take the backing off the tape on the actuator, and I'm just going to line that up and put the actuator on that mark. Okay, so now I'm going to take the backing off this piece of tape. Come on, there you go. And I'm just going to line up with that 1/2 inch mark I made, and I'm going to try and get my edges even here, and once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to press down. Now if I fold that over, that flips into place, and as you can see, it hides very nicely. I'm going to put the pull tab onto my backer piece, and I just want to show you that I just punched out a part of a circle using a 1 inch circle punch, just so it makes it easier to catch hold of the pull strip. And I'm going to thread the pull strip through the slit that I made. Okay, and I'm going to take away the paper off the tear and tape. And now I'm just going to slide this into place, and I'm going to just put those pieces just down in place. Okay, and now when I pull my card up it flips. So for the finishing touches, I've done some stamping with the BYOP set, and I've stamped on Very Vanilla with Rich Raspberry ink, and I've just trimmed it out with my scissors. And on the front I've got Happy Birthday, but when you pull the tab, you get to see I thought you'd like to spend your day, and then it flips over, spending. Okay, now the pull flap is going a little bit too far down into the card for me, and maybe I could have made it a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch a hole in the middle there, and I'm going to be prepared to give this, put some force behind this, because it's going through several layers of card, but it's managed that very well. And I'm going to bring my, let me see, the Rich Raspberry ribbon, I think. I'm going to cut a length of that. And I'm going to fold it and thread it through the hole that I've just made. Just like that. And that will now make a nice pull cord, and I'm just going to trim it down a bit because that's a bit too long. So I'm going that way, and I'll have that one going that way, just like that. And now I'm going to stick this down to the front of the card base. So I've got my tape on the back, and I'm going to take the backing off. I don't know why I cut 2 pieces of tape here. I just wasn't thinking straight. Never mind. Oh, a piece of tape I forgot. I need to put a little piece just there at that corner. Not very much, not too much at all, because I don't want to foul the pull mechanism, but I do want to make sure that that bit is going to stick down to the front of my card. And we may well be... Actually, I'm going to put a bit of wet glue on there, keeping it well out the way of the pull tab, but nevertheless. Okay, so now let's line this up. I'm going to stand it up, make sure that it's nice and square, and make sure that the ribbons are out of the way, just like that. And I can start pulling away the backing tape. Okay, and we're very nearly finished. Just make sure it still works, and it does. Excellent. Last thing I want to make a belly band to go around, and I'm going to make it to go around the whole card and keep it all closed. So this is my strip of mint macaron, and as you can see, it doesn't quite meet in the middle, but that's not a problem because I've die cut out a scalloped circle of rich raspberry and one of mint macaron, and I've stamped the little heart from the BYOP set onto a piece of very vanilla. I'm just going to layer those up, and they are going to become the ends of my belly band. So I'm just going to put some tape on here and some on here. Which I'll take it. It'll be easier if I move it away from the card just for a moment, wouldn't it? Okay. And just create my... Now I could put a dimensional or two on here, but because of the bulk of the flap, this is quite a chunky card already, so I'm just going to keep it as flat as I possibly can right now. Okay, and just put that there. So now I'm going to bring my belly band piece and I'm going to wrap it around the front of the card where I want it to go. I don't want it to be too tight because I want to be able to take it on and off without too much trouble. And here's my decorative piece to go on in the middle there. And trying to get it lined up so that it looks reasonably straight. Actually, if I do it on this bit, it'll be easier because then it's over the fattest part. So if I do it there and then slide it into place, I'll know it'll be just about right. There we go, that's much better. And I've made a bow of the mint macaron. Where is it? Here it is. And I think that will just be the little last finishing touch. So where are my glue dots? Can't find them. I'll use wet glue. And I think it actually looks better that way up, so I shall put the adhesive on there and just stick that into place. And we'll call that finished. And there it is, finished. And if I just take the belly band off and if I pull on the strip, Up pops my message, and there's my gift card. Now, I first saw a card like this on somebody's YouTube channel quite some time ago, but she didn't tell you how she made it. She just showed it to you. And I've been looking for the way to make a card like this ever since. So I'm really, really glad that I found the instructions, and I hope that you will enjoy making a card like this as well. And if you do, I would love to see what you've made, and if you would go to my Facebook page and post a picture of your version of the flip-flap card, I'd really, really like to see it. But that is it for today. I do hope that you've enjoyed, and if so, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. If you want the measurements and the cutting diagram for this kind of card, it will be on my blog, and the information, the details, the link, it's all below there. And there's also a link to my online Stampin' Up store where you can get your hands on the materials that I've used. I'm going to be posting more projects very soon, but for now, thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope I'm going to see you again. Bye-bye.